the extension. So here's my data output file with 5 values for the mean in the first column and 5 values for the standard deviation in the second column, corresponding to our mean column here versus the standard deviation column here. Hopefully that makes sense. And then we can get a little bit more fancy and just put this in a little box and only do it if the user really specifies. So you can do, and this will make sense in a second, we want a case structure just like we did before. So back up to programming and structures, case structures, circle the whole thing. And now, if true, save data. If not, do nothing. And just a trick about case structures, if we're wiring anything out of a case structure, then all the cases need to be satisfied. But since we're just only wiring something in to the case structure and nothing is going out, then it doesn't matter that this case is totally blank. It's totally empty. It doesn't matter. Okay, I'm going to make a dialog box to ask the user. So go to this dialog box in user interface and go to this 2-button dialog. And a 2-button dialog is just something that says, it's okay, I'm going to go Control H. So there's a message, and then what to call the true button name and what to call the false button name. And the default values are fine. You can play with that on your own. And then the output is whatever the user decided, whether it's true or false. So you can say, I'm going to right-click on the message and say create constant, and say save data. And then you'll see how that works. And there's a slight trick here having to do with the flow of execution in LabView. And so this is actually not going to work. And we'll find out the hard way. I'm going to run this. And immediately it asks whether we want to save the data, even though we haven't collected any data yet. So I'm going to hit cancel on that and just stop this whole thing. So the reason for that is that LabView executes everything outside of the loop first, which is annoying. So to trick it, we want it only to ask to save the data after we have data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that, just put this inside the loop. And this thing, just like any LabView function, won't start running until the data becomes available. And so the data actually has to come outside of this loop. It doesn't matter whether this is in the loop, but since this is in the loop, the consequence of that is that this guy doesn't get executed until the loop ends. So now let's try this again. Okay, populate our thing with some fake data. Along the data value. Oops, I lost my cursor. See, I dragged it off the screen. It's at -3. So I can just right-click on this, bring it to center. There we go. Get some more data in there, doesn't matter what. Alright, and I'm finished. Do I want to save the data? Nah. Okay. So that's it for this tutorial. So now you have this program, which is like this virtual instrument, which you can use, for example, if you want, for your own purposes, to be able to browse or analyze your data, or if you have some other user who doesn't know anything about LabView, they can still use this in an intuitive way. You can write comments here, instructions, how to use it, and you can go through and analyze your data without really understanding what's going on the backside of things. So that's the power of using LabView, I think. And so save this file. For part 2 of the tutorial, we're going to do some more sophisticated data analysis techniques. Thanks for listening.